Hey, welcome back to the shop. I got a little project I'm doing for the wife. We found this great old oak tabletop in a pile of stuff that I had in my old garage, and so I need to make a set of legs for it. And I could just make, you know, some sawhorses or something. This is for my wife for her sewing area, which is the garage area that I moved out of into the new shop that we're in here. But I figured I'd do something a little nicer, and the sheet metal that I got for the roof had lots and lots of 2x4 that was in it. I got 16 12-foot 2x4s out of it. Of course, it's got screw holes and some dents and some stuff in it, so I figured I'd make something like a relic kind of thing to kind of go with the old tabletop oak tabletop. So here, let me show you. So here's the legs that I'm building. The bottoms curve down, the tops curve up. This is just 2x4s. I did route the corners here with a round over bit with a bearing guide, and I just routed the corners just so it was a little bit fancy, and I tied them together up the corners here. Everything else was basically cut on the bandsaw. This is a black dye stain. A water-based ebony dye stain, and I've sanded it back. Here's what the boards look like after one coat of stain. Let's see if I can get it without any glare on it. Not really, huh? But it's real black and kind of ugly, and then I ran some 220 over it, and I get, instead of that, I get this, right? So we're going to put 3 colors on it in order to try and match that tabletop. So I've got the black that's on there now, and I'm sanding that back, and then I've got some walnut, and I've got some cherry. So we're going to try and mimic that old brown, orangey color. That oak is finished with just boiled linseed oil, a couple coats of boiled linseed oil. So the pine's not going to go quite that same amber, so I need to make up that same color with walnut and cherry. So I wasn't even going to video this, and I didn't video the construction. I guess the other fancy thing is that you can see from this that everything's put together with mortise and tenon joints. So this is currently the outside leg of the table. If I turn it around, then you can see where the stringers go, and they're all just mortise and tenon joints. I cut the tenons with my heavy-duty tenoning jig on my table saw, and I cut the mortises with my hollow chisel mortise cutter. And that went really quick. The only odd thing was making 90-degree angle mortises like that is a bit of a pain with a hollow chisel mortise cutter, but it works just fine. So I'm going to get on to sanding here the other half of this. I do have on my sander. This is just a vibrating quarter sheet sander, but it's got some holes. It's got like a template here that you use to punch holes in the sandpaper and then pull dust collection on it. One of the tips I saw recently from Stumpy Nubs, if you don't follow his channel, highly recommended. Stumpy Nubs recommended always use good dust collection, pull a vacuum even through these kinds of things. These filters don't really do all that much. This does a lot, and it actually makes this sandpaper last a lot longer. So I need to get on with that, and here I'll do that off camera, and then because nobody needs to hear sander running for 10 minutes, and then I'll bring you back and show you the result of this particular piece. All right, so that was less than 5 minutes of work, and looks properly reliced. So one thing I learned about black stains in particular is that you really need a dye stain. You don't want a pigment stain. The difference is that the dye is in the solvent. In this case, it's water-based, and this dye stain. I hope that's not backwards. It probably is. But the dye stains are going to stain much more evenly. The pigments that have particulates in them suspended in the solvent, the blacks just don't work very well. I don't like them at all. Your mileage may vary, but I like the black dye stain. It does get kind of all over everything. And make sure that if you're going to wear something. Wear some protective clothing or something, because once that black dye hits anything, you're done. It's black. But it does a real nice job. This tabletop was not done in that. It's just a black door from IKEA. I've used it before on other projects, and it has a slight bluish tint to it. Although now that I'm seeing this sanded back, I don't see the blue. At least it doesn't strike me as much as a bluish tint to it anymore. So we'll see what we get after we put on walnut and then a cherry on top of that. Try and match that really beautiful old oak tabletop. So after putting the red oak stain, which is a pigment stain, on top of the black, the interesting thing is that the black doesn't look black anymore. It just looks like a darker red, right? So the pigment actually colors the black, kind of sinks into the black, and you can maybe get a little bit of what looks like black in here, but really it just looks like darker red. And so that's kind of a thing that I learned from both Crimson Guitars, watching them stain guitar bodies, and also Adam Savage. Layers is really important. I also learned that lesson using an old ray tracing program called Pavray. Pavray is a text-based ray tracing program which generates really pretty realistic looking graphics if you take the time to really do fancy things with it. And pavray.org, it's still downloadable and runs under Windows. It's really slick. I use it for stuff all the time. And one thing I found in using Pavray is that if you warp a texture, so if you have like turbulence going through a texture, not unlike the kind of things that you see where grain doesn't go super straight, it has a bit of a change to it as it goes down. It's not just a completely straight line. So they warp that with what they call turbulence, but then you can add turbulence modifiers onto that. And if you put one modifier on it, it just looks fake. It looks computer generated, right? It just doesn't have a really good look to it. But if you put 3 with, like different granularities, or what they call octaves. So you would put, one is like a power of 10, the next one's a power of 4, the next one's a power of 2, or something like that, and you warp the textures. Then what you find, right, is that it starts to look really realistic. So it's that multiple layers of things that really help things look more realistic. So that's kind of what I'm trying to go for here. With the multiple different colors that we're doing. Well, I added the walnut stain in, and this color should be pretty flat. The lights in here are going to be consistent. I don't know whether I did it any favors or not. It looks kind of like generic walnut now. I don't know, maybe it's got a little more blush in it than walnut does. It'll pop a little bit more once we put polyurethane on it, but just not sure. So I think what was happening was that the walnut and the red oak stains are both solvent based, and so if I rubbed the walnut in too hard, it pulled the red off, and I could see that on the cloth I was putting it in there. There was a lot of red on the paper towels I was using to put the walnut down. But it's not bad. I kind of like this reddish is pretty much the color I'm going for. Now what I have I'm going to put on here is a classic oak satin finish polyurethane, and that's really cheating. I usually put on a more, I don't know, professional finish or whatever you want to call it. But the fact that this has got, this classic oak has got a bit of yellow in it. So I've got all the tenons taped up, and I got these all sitting here, sitting on their tenons. And I already did the tops and bottoms, and this color is more what I'm going for. These look pretty good. I moved the paper towel blockers as I went from board to board there, and I like that color. But also this polyurethane is then going to seal the color in. So let's hit the first two of these, and we'll see what the color looks like as you add a finish to it here. Like I said, this has got a little bit of an amber in it, and so it's going to yellow things up a bit. Yeah, you get a little shine from the wet, but also it gets a little bit warmer a tone. Real important when spraying, do not stop and start your spray pass on the board. Start it off the board and come onto it, and go off the board. I need a little more space in here, and he's not sitting on the tape. Yeah, I'm liking that. It's a little bit yellower than I gotta move this guy. He wasn't sitting all the way down. I need to move the sawhorse out a little bit. So I need to do one side and then basically turn them over. I already had this polyurethane yeah, there you can see the difference in color, I think, between the two. This has got a lot more yellow in it now, which is more what I want to go for. So I just need to finish all these up. So here we are after a second coat on everything, and I'm trying to not get too much sky glare on it. But and this is a satin, so it won't be glossy when we're done. But that'll match the oak top, which has just oil finish on it. This is going to look great. I like the variegated color. I like the fact that it's got nail holes and stuff in it, so it looks like, you know, it's been around for 100 years, and that's what we're going for. So I wanted to kind of match that top. So there we go. I'll put up. I'll record another clip basically after this dries and I get it all together. So here it is all together in the shop. The legs are glued together. The stringers are just kind of clamped in place. But yeah, I like it. Came out pretty good. I did make a one problem that I found. I was going to have 45s that go in here, and I forgot to make them. So I've now I made them, but they aren't going to be stained the same. So I just kind of bailed and painted them flat black. This tabletop works really nice for laying stuff like this out. It lets me verify that everything's straight and square. Nice flat top. That's the first time I've really had that. And this is a super simple, just 2x4. Although all these are mortise and tenon together. This is mortise and tenon. These are mortise and tenon, and I made them high enough that I could slide some of my storage cases underneath. Air tools, or this one's air tools. This one's tongue and groove flooring nailer. Obviously planer under there. Makita skill saw, sawzall, and some other air tools and stuff. So I got places to store some things. Might put a shelf in there on top of the stringers. I don't know. Anyway, so I got to get this. I need to wait. I said I need to wait 24 hours before these ends are glued together, but I need to wait 24 hours before I stress the joints, whatever that means. So I'm going to kind of wait. and wait until those the diagonals are done. I don't really need to wait till they're done, but I don't know, maybe I'll glue one end in tonight and then leave that end. This end comes out really square. So if I, put the square up against the top and I look down the side, it's really, you can see that line there. Boy, it comes out nice and even. The other side didn't come out quite so straight. So apparently, I'm holding it tight with this clamp, right? But maybe these shoulders weren't cut quite so square. I don't know. So I think I'll glue this end up and wait for it to cure for a day, and then I'll glue this and make sure that it is 90 degrees to the top of there, even before I put the diagonals on. So it'll all be good. There we have the completed set of table legs, and about to go mount it on the table. Alright, here we are with some 90-degree angle brackets screwed into the table. You got to be careful when using an impact driver like that. In the oak, you can actually snap the screws off, and in the pine, you can actually strip the holes. So you got to stop whenever the clutch hits, but for different reasons. And here we are with it upright in the sewing area. And let me step around here a little bit. I think the color came out great, and the style looks really good. It's a great prototype for doing something fancier, but it also is, for that kind of scrap look. I wanted the scrappy 2x4s to look a bit like the old scrappy top. I love this tabletop. This is oak. This has got to be 100 years old, and it's just got 6 coats of oil on it. There was nothing else put on here at all. So anyhow, thanks for following along on the table leg build. Kind of the first major project I've put out in my shop, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for following along. Appreciate any subscriptions. If you're not already subscribed, I'd appreciate that. I'm trying to build the channel up to the point where I can get it monetized. We're a long way from that. It's not a huge priority, but it'd be kind of nice to make a little off of the work I'm doing. Although I really am here just to tell stories, so follow along. Thanks a lot.